Toxic bosses require you to be in a toxic, positive mindset. And if you think what the actual then you're exactly at the right place. I'm your host, Fela Rosa, and I welcome you to the Corporate Warriors podcast. Now let me dive into it real fast. A healthy, good leader requires you to be realistic, to be on point and be aware of what's going on in a very real way. But a toxic boss requires to be in a strategic, almost in a toxic positive state. And I'll elaborate exactly why in this episode. So if you think, why the hell would somebody ever say that? This toxic boss is horrible, it's giving me a horrible time, it's giving all of the colleagues a horrible time, creates this hostile workplace. I get you. I've been there and I'm working with a lot of high performers right now that are exactly in the same spot. Now, why would I still say that toxic positivity is a good thing? First, it's strategic. You don't do it because you truly believe it, but you do it because strategically you know that this is one very good way to get yourself out sane in a good mental health. And in order to be able to do that, you cannot ever let the toxic boss create the narrative. So creating a toxic positivity is you reclaiming the narrative over your career and over your current experience. So I don't say that you have to tell me your toxic boss is a blessing in disguise. If you want so, please feel free, send me a message. I'm happy to hear your reasoning. But I want you to become strategically, toxically positive. And in order to give you an idea how you can approach it, I'm going to give you 7 reasons what I've seen for myself and for my clients, why and how toxic bosses can actually help you without actually wanting to help you in your career and for your future. So let's dive into those 7 reasons together. And you tell me later in the comments if I could convince you or if you have something to add, or honestly, if you don't agree at all, tell me in the comments. And now let's dive in. Reason number 1, trauma bonding with your colleagues. Now, I usually am somebody that likes to say, I would love all my friendships to be created out of love and abundance. But the reality is this, trauma creates such strong bonds in a very short amount of time. So if you have the same enemy in a very real way, because a toxic boss might actually want to fire you, this can create bonds that are so strong that they will stick with you for the next decade. I've seen it not just with myself, but with many of my clients, even people writing me on social media telling me, look, I went out of this toxic workplace because of you, because of your education. And I'm now helping my colleagues to get out too, because this is not healthy, this is not sane, and I don't want to see them suffer. So this is the proof that those trauma-bonded workplace relationships are actually a good thing because it can help you in the long run. People help each other getting out. Just imagine a healthy workplace. Yes, you do create nice professional relationships with one another, perhaps also 1 or 2 deeper ones. But the reality is this, if somebody leaves a healthy workplace to go work somebody else to pursue something different, they usually don't bring other people with them. Now, overall, that's not a problem, right? But the reality is this, if you're in a very healthy workplace, your network might be very limited to that workplace. And if ever something comes, let it be a recession or a problem in the industry or the company goes bankrupt, your whole network or your main network is within the same company. So actually why it feels kind of safe to be there, not having to think about next step while everything seems to be fine, it's actually not a really good place of safety, because if ever something happens, you don't have a lot of strong bonds with people that are working somewhere else. Whereas in a toxic workplace, believe it or not, people quit all the time. The fluctuation is super high, which is also why HR doesn't have any excuse for not seeing what's going on. But the good news is this, if you created those strong bonds because people felt they could trust you even in this toxic workplace, the likelihood of them helping you get a new job, perhaps even at their company that they're in now, is way higher. Also, just imagine you have 5 to 10 close workplace relationships, and half of them, or let alone all of them, quit and go to different employers. You now have a strong network across multiple different companies, multiple different industries most of the time. And this is actually a great career value in the long run. Now, again, I don't say thank your toxic boss for it, but I say, why don't you reap the benefits of this horrible situation right now? We might as well benefit from it if we can. Reason number 2, you actually are becoming a leader right now, if you want it or not, if you have the title or not. And the reason is, if you're on my podcast, if you're on my social media, You are truly a good-hearted high performer. And what they usually do is they look out for each other. And toxic bosses create a hostile workplace very often where people start to become toxic too. But the good-hearted ones don't. The good-hearted ones still show up with integrity. A lot of the people I work with, such as myself, we create a purpose while still being there, while still working there. For me, my purpose was, if nobody seems to be able to trust each other, I'm gonna be the center of trust. People can talk to me openly and they can be sure that I will not backstab them and I will not use any kind of information they give me against them. And this created, first, very strong bonds. Second, it made me a really good leader without the title, without anything. It did not matter. But the thing is this, if you are stepping up as a leader right now, it will be actually really easy for you to later reap those benefits too. Applying for a leadership role will come across as a leader because you've experienced it way before it was part of your resume. Because true leadership is actually independent of titles. You see it right now. Toxic bosses might be called leaders because they have responsibility over human resources, which you, the employee, actually are, but they are not acting like a leader. And you stepping up, staying in integrity with your values, looking out for others, perhaps even helping them find a new job once you're already out. It's not your responsibility as a human being necessarily, but if you have the gene of a leader, you will feel it now. You will see it now. And you will not be afraid anymore to go for that position. And I tell you, if that is you, if you resonate with that, please do it. The world badly, especially the corporate world, badly needs good-hearted high performers as leaders. The people working in corporate need it. So follow that thought, follow that purpose, and become the leader that you have not yet seen. And this straight away brings me to reason number 3, why we can be in a toxic positive way talking happily about our toxic boss. And it is, you finally understand at the core what true leadership actually is. Now, I know that all of you probably follow Simon Sinek and Gary Vee and great leaders out there that create positive movements. But even the texts, their posts, if you read through them after Toxic Boss experience, you understand on a way deeper level what they actually mean. Before it can seem like a recipe, it can be like, you have to behave like this, you act like that, this makes you a leader. True, but also there's something deeper to that. There's an intention to that. There's a heart to that. There's a purpose that comes with it. It's not just learning how a leader should behave, but it's really about understanding on a way deeper level what that actually means, what energy comes with that. And this is what truly matters. Again, that's what the corporate world needs so badly. So make this your core lesson, not just saying, this is what I don't want to do, I do the opposite, but also think about it in terms of charisma, in terms of energy, in terms of environment and culture that they create without even saying a word. And then what on the opposite a good leader would do. You have the best leadership training right now. Use it for yourself. Reason number 4 why, in a very weird, toxic way, the toxic boss might actually help you. And it is this. This toxic boss forces you to question your entire career, your freaking existence in the corporate market. And that's a gift. I'm gonna tell you why. If you look at studies, very often 60, sometimes up to 80% of the people interviewed tell the interviewer that they are actually miserable in their workplace. And not all of them have a toxic boss. So people go to work, they give all of their time and energy to an employer doing something that they don't actually like, pursuing something that helps a mission that they would never want to drive in the first place. The world is not healthy right now. The overall, majority of the world is not in a happy, healthy place. But very often people get kind of used to their own misery. And we start to kind of believe people that say, oh, that's just what it is. That's just what life is. You just have to go to work even if you hate it. That's what, stamina means, or I don't know what kind of reasoning they will have. But the thing is this, they are not triggered to the maximum. This is why they kind of can live in that misery and kind of explain and rationalize to themselves why it might be okay to do so. But you are different. You're in a different situation right now because you're being targeted by the toxic boss. And this forces you to question your whole career existence entirely from scratch. And that's actually a gift because many people never do that. So you have this unique opportunity right now to dig deeper, to go behind the facade and ask yourself those really important questions. What is it that I can bring in? What is it that I'm missing right now? How is it that I would lead differently? How can I make the corporate world a better place so that others don't have to live in misery? They don't have to go to a job and a boss that they actually hate. Okay, so this is your moment to take a step back and be like, you know what? I'm gonna take a good look at what I do, at how I do it, at my energy levels, at how I feel about certain things, and I'm gonna strategically create my next career step out of this because I will not agree any longer and accept any longer to live and work in a state of misery because I am so much more valuable than that. Reason number 5 why you could feel some sort of toxic gratitude for your toxic boss is that they force you to rebuild and heal. Just like with the misery, we are all walking along with traumas. Everybody has traumas. It's a part of life. As you know, I'm a certified spiritual life coach, so I see it all the time. And it doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. I can tell you everybody has their own trauma to deal with. Now, the important thing is actually the verb here, to deal with. It's not to endure, it's not to suffer from, it's to actually heal and overcome. Okay? But again, just like with the misery, if the trauma is kind of normal enough in weird ways so that you prefer not to take a look at it, so that you prefer not to actually heal what has been a wound for probably way too long inside of you, then you won't feel better. But right now you're in this unique spot and you need to ask yourself, why am I a high performer in the first place? Am I a high performer because I try to prove value and get recognition from the outside because I don't feel it on the inside? Am I trying to prove my mom wrong, which back in the days, 20 years ago, told me I'm not good enough? What is it that made you a high performer? There is a reason to it, and this is your unique possibility to ask and to look behind the surface and to see, am I coming from a place of truly loving growth? If so, perfect, keep on going. If there's something where you're like, actually, if I'm truly honest with myself, there's a part of me that wants to prove something to the world, to myself, to my inner child. And if that's the case, then take that serious and do the healing. Toxic boss can be a great catalyst to get people starting that journey. And once you started the journey, you'll see it is not scary. It is actually beautiful and it's a great feeling. It's a great relief. And you'll feel that your whole energy is coming back to you. Versus right now, you're basically only operating on 50, sometimes even less percent because your energy is stuck with some trauma in the past that you try to outwork, but you've never healed so far. So this is your unique moment to actually do that. Reason number 6 why your toxic boss in a toxic positive way might be actually a good thing. And it's that you now understand power plays on a politics on a whole new level. Again, just like with the leadership before, you can read something, you can read about politics, you can read about Machiavelli, all good. And I encourage you to do so. But living through it once gives you a whole new idea. You'll see House of Cards or Game of Thrones with a very different lens now that you went through it yourself. You'll understand why toxic leaders want to create chaos, why they operate on certain behaviors, certain patterns, and how it actually feels to people inside. And the important thing is this, even if you work in a healthy workplace versus a toxic one, politics still exist. The best and the good-hearted high performers sometimes think that politics is something bad. Being political means backstabbing, but it's not. It's just a new way of being strategic. A way of being political in a positive way is, for instance, consciously building a network that can be a safety net for you if ever something happens, so that you make sure you have people in the room that speak up for you. That is one way to be political without being negative in any kind of way, but being strategic about your workplace relationships is already a great step forward in your political setup. So this is your unique invitation to learn about corporate politics, to accept it, that politics and power plays are a part of human existence. They happen in each and every hierarchy that exists. I have even seen it in like sports clubs and things like that, where you're like, we're here for fun, but as soon as there's a hierarchy, there will be some politics involved. And it heavily depends on the people leading on how that will play out. But now you have this whole new understanding, and those are things like riding a bike. Once you understand it and learn about it, you cannot unlearn it, you cannot unsee it, and you'll experience your world from a whole new strategic perspective. And that is actually a good thing, because the people that understand, they are in power. Even if you're not at the top of the hierarchy, you are still in power because you have the strategic perspective. You know what's going on, and that enables and empowers you for your next move to make a strategic decision for yourself, your career, and your well-being. And last but not least, understanding narcissism changes your entire life. I have the weird feeling that there's more and more narcissistic people out there, but I'm not sure if I'm just biased because people are becoming more aware of it and talking more about it. So I'm not 100% sure about this, but the truth, 100% of the cases is this. If you once understood narcissism, if you understand how narcissists behave and act, again, just like with the politics, you'll be able to spot it also in your private life. And this is really important because nobody that has ever lived through a narcissistic experience will tell you to stick around those people. They will drain your energy because they want to feel better by making others feel worse. For them, everything is a competition. There's no such thing as equality, and everything is about power. There is no love to be found with a narcissist because they will always try to counteract their deep insecurities. So learning about it now, just like with the politics and with the leadership, is crucial for your future life. So you have this filter or this set of goggles that you can put on to analyze certain situations in your life, also in your free time, to understand, am I perhaps dealing with a narcissist here? And if you do, dig a little deeper, find out more, and then make your own conclusions. But this will actually create such a safe space for you in the long run because you now understand something that most people don't, and they suffer in silence because of it. So you now have the actual goggles that you can put on to evaluate different situations and make your strategic conclusions from it. So that was it. Those were the 7 reasons. As you could see, this is not at all about being naive and behaving in a way that actually harms you, but it's about shaping the narrative in a way that you understand all the things that you can learn in this situation so that you do come out wiser than you entered. Okay? This is truly important. The world, again, needs good-hearted high performers out there, strong in their leadership. And if you feel that you're right now in the situation where you want to rebuild your self-trust, self-confidence, self-worth, and you want to strategically create that next career step and use this situation with your toxic boss as a catalyst where you learn to regulate your nervous system so you don't act from anxiety, but you act from calm confidence, then click the link down below and sign up for the Toxic Boss Reset. It's a 12-week program with an online course and a very intense group coaching where we come together. You don't have to go through this alone. I am rooting for you and I'm happy to see you back next time. Make sure to share this episode with somebody that would truly benefit from it. And I'm happy to see you back at the Corporate Warriors podcast. Bye.